Hello, everybody, and welcome to your next 3 months reading. Joining me today is my good friend and highly intuitive tarot master, Chris Reck from Minopon Tarot. Hi, Chris. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great, and as always, it's so fun to do these co-readings with you. It feels like it was over a year ago that we did our last reading, but it was just less than a month ago we did the 2026 messages, and we got some really powerful insight to the energy that's coming up, but it felt good to maybe break it down into smaller portions, especially as the energy shifts. And of course, different things influence us. So we thought we'd do another all signs reading for you guys. And we'll be talking about these next 3 months here. I do encourage you to grab that journal. Give your future self that gift of hindsight. If anything resonates with you, please write it down, because you're going to want to come back and look at this 3 months from now, or even a month from now, and go, wow, that message was definitely for me. That's why on my channel, I encourage you to listen to all 12 signs, because you do have all 12 signs in your chart. And then, of course, at the end, we will be doing your bonus messages, which are designed to clarify anything you heard in the 12 signs. So if you're not quite sure, go add the bonus messages to it. That should give you some more clarity. Chris, I'm excited to see what's coming up with this, because it did feel like a wonky energy moving into the year, almost like, is it going to feel like a new year, or is it going to feel like it's not quite 2026 yet? Have you been feeling any of those energies?
Yeah, I mean, I do feel like it is a new year this year. So, yeah, which is different than last year. And so, yeah, I feel it.
Yeah, last year we went into 2025 with massive retrogrades, and I don't think anything was like fully out of shadow to like late May.
Yeah.
So you talked about last year wasn't going to feel like a new year till June, and that was definitely the case for me and my clients and people around me. And this year I started to feel like it was the new year in December a little bit. And then that wonky holiday thing set in, where you it feels like there is no time. And then when I was ready for the year to start, there was still like getting going. So it did feel like a new year to me, but like a slower start than I was expecting. So anything, I did want to mention to everybody, if you haven't already, definitely check out Minopon Tarot and subscribe. Chris, you've been doing these bonus readings that have been such a great clarification for our weekly and weekend readings that you always do for all 12 signs. What have been some of the big themes you've seen with these impromptu readings?
Speaking of that 90-day experiment, so I run 90-day experiments every single 90 days, and so this is one of my big ones that I'm doing, and so that has come up. Also, I thought we were going to be over the heart-based stuff, but I keep getting the Queen of Cups in these readings, so I think more of that, like following your heart. I guess it makes sense, because I keep blaming Uranus and Taurus for needing to set your heart free or whatever, and that keeps coming up as well.
I've been seeing the Three of Swords a lot with a lot of my group readings.
Yes.
Does that come up for you? Is that kind of related to the heart?
This week? Yeah, it's crazy you say that. I just did the week of the 12th, and so like everybody had the Three of Swords. I mentioned it in those readings that everybody was getting it.
Yeah, I mean, and it's really interesting because it adds a lot of clarification and validation to what you're already getting. And I just think that it's important for us to note those things that are coming through, because another big theme I'm seeing is how all of our telepathic levels are going to new heights. And I'm seeing it in my real life play out. Like I'm thinking about a person and that I haven't seen in 18 years, and I'm running into them 3 days later, like very, at a similar event. Things in my dreams have been turning into something in my reality. Have you had anything like that happening for you?
Yeah, my dreams have been crazy. I brought up a dream I had the other night where I was like walking down the road, and there were these pelicans walking towards me, and but I woke up and my first thought was that was real. Like I literally thought that had happened to me when as I was waking up. I'm like, oh yeah, that happened the other day. I was walking down the road and I saw those pelicans, but it didn't. It was so weird.
So what's the meaning around pelicans? Did you look that up? Like significant?
I can't remember. It was like something about like nurturing people, in general. So it was like something about that. Yeah.
Do you have pelicans in your area, or is this just like totally random? Yeah. So
it was just totally I don't remember the last time I saw a pelican. Probably I do. Well, actually, I do remember. I was moving cross country because I think I was in Minnesota or Michigan. I can't remember where I was, but I was like, that is so freaking weird that all the way like way up north here, in Michigan or Minnesota, whatever it was, there were pelicans like that far north, you know?
Yeah.
And so I remember that, but that was like years ago. That was like 2016.
Oh, okay. Wow. And
Yeah.
2016 was the end of our 9-year cycle in numerology
Yeah.
that we just ended in 2025. Could be something around a cycle there. And,
That's a good point.
I always pay attention when there's something sticks out. I encourage everybody listening to pay attention, especially to animals and dreams. I had a dream about a week ago about an elephant and a jaguar. And I don't have any of that's not around me. Like, I don't go to the zoo, like, but
Yeah.
when I started kind of looking at the spiritual meaning behind those animals and what they were in the way that I interacted with them, it really actually validated a lot of stuff I was working on, things I was doing. So I definitely think starting now and for the next 3 months, keep track of your dreams if you can.
Yeah.
Keep a journal by your nightstand. If you don't remember your dreams, just note how you feel before bed and how you feel after. You might get a download later in the day. And believe it or not, daydreaming can bring in things if you just let yourself look out the window. Do you ever daydream, Chris?
I say I'm a Pisces, so like all day long. I mean, I used to get in trouble in class because I would
Me
just be
too.
staring out the window all the time, just daydreaming about something else, you know?
Yeah, but you would get in trouble for it, and it's actually like such a healthy thing. And like adults
is,
were
yeah.
trying to tell the adults, please daydream. Take 5 minutes a day to daydream, and it can really help you figure out what to focus on, what your visualizations should be, and all that. And then, like you said, being a Pisces. In the next 3 months, we will be moving into Pisces season, which makes the veil that much thinner, a little bit easier to tap into across the veil. So definitely pay attention to your dreams, animals in your dreams, numbers in your dreams. I think we're going to be seeing a lot of that over the next 3 months. And then another big thing I wanted to bring up, you and I talked about it a lot the last couple videos we did together, is the Chinese New Year happening on February 17th is actually also the first eclipse of 2026. It's an annular solar eclipse, and it is going to be on the new moon that's happening on, let's see, I've got my notes in front of me, February 17th. So about halfway through this 3-month cycle we're talking about today for all 12 signs, we're going to have an eclipse. So have you seen anything coming up for eclipses yet, or do you feel like we're not quite in that energy?
Yeah, I think we're not quite in that energy. I haven't had anything pop up that I think of it. I do have that deck. I don't know if I have it here. I don't have it here, but it says it's the Moonology deck. There's a card. It's the new moon eclipse. It says expect a powerful change. And so I have seen that card, though, a couple of times.
Okay.
I thought I had it here, but I don't. I don't know what I did with it.
Well, I know that we were talking a lot about ending the year of the metal snake in Chinese astrology and moving into the fire horse. And so for that to be happening with this eclipse does seem very significant because Neptune will have already moved into Aries by then. That's happening on the 26th. And then what date does Saturn move in? Is it before that?
13th.
The 13th. So it will have already moved into Aries too. So we'll be going into that eclipse for the fire horse with that fire energy there. So pay attention to things that are coming up for you around creative projects, romance, finding romance in daily life. It doesn't have to be about a romantic partner. It can be like the joy of getting out of bed to work on your favorite hobby or project. So I think those are things to pay attention to as you're listening to these all 12 signs. Anything else significant that we should mention for the next 3 months or that's coming up for you?
Yeah, that's come up a lot. Like the energy of love, doing what you love, doing more things that make you really getting into that flow energy. And I think that the other thing that I would say about that is, it's like this off there. I feel it's like off balancing, but only like when you're panicking. I think I've told this story before. I crashed my skateboard like years ago. I broke my ribs, and I had this I have a scar on my knee because I like fell on my knee. Luckily, I had a helmet on because I totally face planted. But it's like, I was going really fast down this hill, which you probably, I was like 33 at the time, probably shouldn't be doing that at 33, right? And But I remember it's like if I just like I felt like if I started to wobble a little bit, and then I like really started wobbling really hard. And if I just chilled out, like when it was happening, I probably would have been fine. And that's like what I feel for people is like, we're leaving this our old life behind right now and maybe starting something new. It's like if you just coast and like don't panic when you're wobbling, you'll be fine.
That is a really good analogy.
That's what I would say.
Yeah, that's a really good, because we also have Mercury going retrograde in the next 3 months. I believe it is on the 26th. I don't have my glasses on here, but it's in February. So that's a good time for coasting too. I really like that analogy there, just like coasting through some of this energy and seeing what comes up. And definitely, paying attention. I heard you say this in one of your bonus readings the other day, and it definitely is something I've noticed. I'll have something that's kind of like a premonition come through, and I lean towards dismissing it. Now I'm trying to make it a habit not to dismiss it, even no matter how silly and like it doesn't even relate to what I was just thinking about. A lot of times I think that's where it's the most prominent is when, like you're thinking about getting your car washed, and then a picture of, an aunt or an uncle pops into your mind out of nowhere. Like you're like, how does that have to do with getting my car washed? Something needs to be written down about that, noted, even if you don't know what that means. And I think we're going to see a lot of that. And then you may not really get the meaning of it until we have the Mercury retrograde, which gives you a chance to kind of review things, kind of look at how the year started. So I always see Mercury retrograde as a positive thing. It's an opportunity to see things from a different perspective, right? I think it gets a bad rap for a lot of people.
Yeah, of course. And I just did a Gemini reading too that was talking about like exactly that. The messages, I was saying to Gemini something about them being like subtle, it's very, I feel like maybe the messages are very subtle. And so we have to pay attention.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing too. And, I think keeping that in mind, you also mentioned in the 2026 readings we did last month, which definitely go check that out, you guys, to add clarity to these readings. You mentioned that it probably March is we're going to feel things really move forward. Are you still getting that?
Yeah, I think March is probably when people will really get going. I was thinking about this the other day that, I think there's something about doubt right now where it's like, I think people, if you have something you want to do in the future, but you're like doubting if you're going to be able to do it, I think people need to commit to that, whatever that is. It's almost like if you, it's like, let's say you want to travel somewhere, but you're like, I kind of have the money. I don't really have the money. I'm not sure. It's like, I feel like this would be a good year to do it. Cause it's almost like you're setting yourself up to be in the energy of being able to do it in the future.
And I like that.
So I really think people need, like, if you have something like that, I would do whatever it is. I would just do it, even if you don't think you can.
Yeah, I agree with that. And that resonates with some of the messages I was getting for 2026 in my readings, was that also like go bigger with that goal. Yeah. Right? Like don't limit yourself. Like, I want to make 10,000 a month, like multiply that times 10. I mean, we have to have a realistic goal, of course, but like you don't like see what comes up for you. That's a limiting belief when you start to visualize that kind of thing and like go for it. Cause I do think you're right with us moving into a 1 year in numerology. When we went from 2025 to 2026, that's already like a new cycle. But like you said, in March, we'll start to really feel that momentum. So if you've already got it in your mind's eye, like, I want to travel here, I want to try this new thing, I think that you're going to be supported and you're going to kind of like get into the flow with it, as you were saying. And the other big thing that I've been also getting a lot for everybody is, what is your thing that gets you out of bed in the morning because you're excited? Not your alarm clock, not because you have to be somewhere, right? What is the thing that you're like, I would get up early for this because I love this that much, or I would put myself to bed early because I want to have energy for this thing tomorrow. I think that's a big thing to be thinking about for these next 3 months. If you don't already have that, work on that if you do, like really set aside time for it. And then the other thing you and I talked about for the 2026 readings, which I'm still hearing, is this idea of a non-negotiable that you do every day for you. It's not for someone else. And I don't know, I think you said you were going to have to think about that. Do you have anything that you want to share? You don't have to share, but like do you have something that you considered a non-negotiable?
Yeah, like a bunch.
Okay.
I have a bunch of non-negotiables this year.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And, I've been saying that a lot, that I think people need to have that, like some sort of practice that isn't non-negotiable.
Yes.
And yeah, and I've agreed. Yeah, I'm traveling this year, Speed. That's why I brought that example up. So it's kind of like a non-negotiable to me. I've kind of I realized like I have to travel in February, and so I was like I've been trying to get ahead on my readings so that when I'm traveling, I don't have to like worry about it. And but I've been very bad. I've been very bad at getting ahead.
Well, we're
So
just getting started.
Non-negotiable it is. Yeah.
Right? It's just, and it's like you said about being in the flow. I do think sometimes that we're just not in the flow yet. And then all of a sudden something clicks and we're in the flow again. I mean, for me, like, I like to have my quiet time in the mornings before I start my day, where I'm journaling and connecting and all that things. And so like even this weekend, my daughter had a huge volleyball tournament. We had to be downtown San Antonio at like 6:30 a.m. So I got up at like 4 a.m. so I could have that time. I was very tired at the end of the weekend, but that was like, it was worth it to me. I was in the right frame of mind by the time we were getting on the road and dealing with like this gigantic stadium of people. So I think those are the kind of things that should be our non-negotiable, because I do feel like I like got through that weekend better because I had that, priority there. So those are things that I think are good examples. And there's something else you said about the traveling and being in the flow. I just think that sometimes we do want to give ourselves a break and not be so hard on ourselves that we're not getting as far ahead, because maybe there's something that's going to happen that's going to make it easier to get it done in the future too. So it's a little bit of don't push too much, but don't like totally back off the gas pedal,
Yep.
Awesome. Well, I think that kind of wraps up the summary of going into these next 3 months. So let's definitely do all 12 signs and then your clarity bonus reading. So at the end, we'll clarify anything. If you haven't already, we appreciate it if you subscribe to both our channels at Menopause Tarot, like and share this video. We really appreciate your comments. We read every single one. So even if it's just an emoji saying hi, we love it. We love seeing where you're tuning in from. And I do want to mention too that definitely check out not only Menopause Tarot, but chrisreck.com. Chris has been a huge mentor for me with getting projects going, with my YouTube channel, with learning and understanding how to navigate the constantly changing YouTube algorithm. So Chris, thank you for that. And I know you share a lot of free information for people over at your channel, Chris Reck and chrisreck.com. So if you haven't checked that out, definitely do that. And I guess let's get started. Does that sound good?
Sounds good.
All right. First off, we have the Aries. Aries, what do you have for Aries for the next 3 months?
Aries, you have the Knight of Swords, the Hangman, and the Ace of Wands. So Knight of Swords charging forward, and the Hangman not charging forward, and the Ace of Wands is kind of like charging forward. So it could be like a start, stop, start type of energy for Aries over the next few months. The Hangman, the pauses are good. So speaking of, having a Mercury retrograde right in the middle of the next 3 months, the Hangman could just be saying that there's going to be a middle pause. But, the Hangman, it's necessary to get answers with the Hangman. And kind of what I feel with the Ace of Wands is energy that we put onto things. I always say it's like we're building a fire. This is the spark, the Ace of Wands, but we have to keep putting wood on that fire. And so it's like you're finding better wood to put on your fire here, Aries. And so, I think it's pretty simple for Aries. It's like, if there is a pause, it's a good thing. It's giving you that wood to put on your fire.
Okay, that's interesting. I have the 7 of Water card for the Aries, the 3 of Cups, and then I'm using this past life deck. And what came up was the medicine man or woman card there. So what I am seeing, and it kind of made sense with what you're saying, like getting clarity in the hangman card. I feel like with the 7 of water card, which I love how you call this the spoiled for choices card. I think that is what it is that you have a lot of options here going forward, Aries, in the next 3 months. And that hangman card is reminding you to be very careful what you choose, but you will have to make a decision. You're going to have to get down from that place of being in a temporary standstill and go ahead and make a choice, because this is going to be such a powerful year for you guys anyways, with everything moving into your sign. And then we have this 3 of Cups, which is that celebration card. And what I'm getting with this card here is to remember to celebrate every day the small achievements, and instead of just like constantly going until you get to your goal, go ahead and celebrate the small wins over these next 3 months, because there is going to be some wonky energy there. I feel like for all of us, for all 12 signs, especially when we do see Mercury go retrograde, probably around that eclipse energy too, where there's always a shift. There might be a feeling of stagnation that is frustrating, and you're like, why is this not moving forward? Why am I not hearing back from these people? Celebrate the small wins, and maybe that small win is sticking with that non-negotiable every day we were talking about at the beginning of this video. And then this medicine man or woman card, what I'm getting for you, for wherever you have Aries in your chart, is to remember that you did bring spiritual gifts into this lifetime. And if you haven't started actively using them, this is your sign to go ahead and start thinking about the things that come to you naturally. I kind of like that saying my friend and I were talking about the other day, where if something comes easy to you, that's the thing you should be doing. And I think a lot of times we give ourselves a hard time because we're like, well, what's the big deal? It's not hard work. It's not really, pushing myself, but there's something in it there. And that's usually some type of spiritual gift that you did have to work hard for in a past life, that now it does come easy for you. So why not take advantage of it? So does anything else come up for you with those 7 cards there?
Yeah, I mean, you're just, I could have had you do my readings this morning, because that's what I said that to Libra, Aries opposite sign. I was talking about those things that you don't think you're good at, that you probably are good at, because, and I literally said to Libra, you need to think about like what people has anyone said you're good at something and you don't think you are? It's like, what, that is the thing that is probably, I call those trine skills. Like, I don't know if people actually have those, have a trine in their chart or something, but, I always think people with a lot of trines, it's like, they're considered lazy, but they're really not lazy. They're just born with skills, right?
Right. Yeah, it just comes easy to them. It's a flow. Yeah, I completely agree with that. And I like that you said that, because it's a good reminder for all 12 signs. If somebody compliments you, go ahead and say, I receive that, even if you don't really understand why. There's a reason they put the energy into pointing that out for you. And a lot of times I feel like it's our own higher self kind of orchestrating that to remind you, hey, look, other people see this as a good thing. So you need to see it as a good thing. So yeah, I really like that for Aries and all 12 signs. Awesome. All right. Taurus, what do we have for the next 3 months for Taurus?
Taurus, you show up, which is good. So whenever you show up as yourself, puts you in a position of power and strength. You have Judgment and the Star. So clearly, like, discover this, like, could be a breakthrough, could be discovering, some sort of missing piece of the puzzle or something kind of clicking. I wish I had some good examples for this, but it's kind of like riding a bicycle, I think, is a good analogy for it, because it's like learning something that once you learn it, you can't forget it. And, that's the energy I feel here for Taurus. It could be for any area of your life, but Hierophant is definitely learning. Judgment is entering into a new life. They're leaving these coffins, entering into a new life. And the Star is like fulfillment, hope, faith, renewal. It's like something is giving you hope. So I think it's kind of simple for Taurus as well. It's like you're discovering, it's like you're learning how to ride in something that's like a bicycle in your life. And I think it'll help you a lot, Taurus.
Yeah, that really resonates with what I've been getting. I've got the Page of Air card here. You were talking about learning something new, knowledge. It says truthful, analytical, outspoken. I am seeing a lot of Tauruses going into new areas with the work they're doing. I know at least 3 Tauruses that have recently moved or are about to move. And I'm surrounded by Tauruses in my life. Not every Taurus I know has moved, but they have changed. Like the way they go through their day has changed. Like they worked from home and now they work in an in office, or they don't really travel and now they're traveling every couple of weeks. Like there's a lot of movement for Tauruses right now. And I think you're gaining a lot of knowledge with this, and you're having new conversations that you weren't having before. I also have the Three of Pentacles card here, and I do think that this is something that's bringing in prosperity for the Tauruses too. So you might think that this is just like a chance meeting or chance conversation you're having with somebody, but I feel like there's more to it. It's even if you never see that person again, there was some kind of exchange of information that's going to stick with you. So what's the first thing that comes to mind with you? Maybe it's somebody you just casually had a conversation with at the gym or in the grocery line, but you think about that conversation every now and then. I think there's something there to bring into this reality. And then again, I'm using the past life deck. For the third card here, we have the Orphan card. And this is what this is showing me is like a lot of Tauruses have felt out in the cold lately. They felt like they don't have the support system around them. They feel like, when they've needed somebody to be there for them, they haven't had somebody right there available to them. It could be something as simple as like you're in a new job and your mentor was out of town for the last 2 weeks. So you don't have anyone to like go to for information. Or it could literally be you went through something and you're like, I want somebody to come decompress with me and help me work through what just happened, and I don't know who to call, or I feel like the people who I would call don't reciprocate when I'm there for them. So this feeling of being left out in the cold is something that you want to shift the narrative around in these next 3 months. And that's why I'm seeing like a lot of movement for Tauruses. I think remembering that you're not alone out there, and possibly some of these new conversations, this new movement you're having is bringing these people into your life where you don't feel all alone. You don't feel like the people that you should be able to rely on are not there, because you're bringing in new people who will be there. Does any of that resonate for you?
Yeah, you said something at the beginning. I don't remember what, but it kind of reminds me. I have been saying to Taurus that they're like flipping the script on their life in some way. And, it's like the Hierophant, he communicates with heaven and earth. So he's bringing heaven like down to earth. I feel for like a long time, Tauruses have either had a person or people or something that they have been like living under. I think you need to live over something here, Taurus. It's like your vision is the one that's important. So that's how you're flipping the script. Like I feel, I've said to Tauruses in the past that I think they could be entering into a time like if they have a partner, for example, that's a breadwinner, it's like they could be becoming the breadwinner starting like now. So that's what I mean by flipping the script.
Oh, I definitely resonate with that energy. And I have actually seen that happen with a lot of Tauruses I know. And it's kind of coming out of that place, like they've been working hard on coming out of that lack mindset and focusing more on like where they're going instead of what they don't have in front of them at the moment. So good job, Tauruses. Keep it up for the next 3 months. I love that. All right, Geminis. What do you have for Geminis for the next 3 months?
A Gemini, Devil, Sun, and the King of Wands. So Devil is like, I get like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde here with the Devil energy for you. I think this goes for you and for people. So I would be careful of those like personalities that are, kind of like people who have multiple personalities. You have enough personalities, Gemini, to last a lifetime. So just deal with your own personalities, right? Mm-hmm. And the Devil. By the way, you asked me at the beginning. The Devil has been coming up a lot. At this time right now that we're recording this, like the middle-ish of January. So I do think people should be careful of anything toxic, anything weird. You have the Sun and the King of Wands, which is great. Number one, Gemini has been getting like you have a fire sign all up in your business or something here, Gemini. So, and I think Gemini does do well with fire. So I guess it makes sense, but it could be a fire sign. I also think that working on confidence is another theme I see a lot for Gemini, doing things on purpose to build confidence. So challenging yourself. The Sun wants you to be happy, but the Sun wants you to step into the light, wants you to do things that make you happy. But sometimes those are the hard things, is what I'm trying to say with the King of Wands. I think I said in a Gemini reading, like I want to eat ice cream every single day, but I know that is not good. And to actually, like, would it make me happy in the moment to eat an entire gallon of ice cream right now? Yes. But at the same time, I know I shouldn't do it, right? So I think that's what their reading is talking about.
Yeah, that adds up with a lot of the stuff I've been seeing for Geminis over the 2025 period. They were transforming quite a bit, but a lot of it has been kind of behind the scenes. And so I think they're about to have some some new characters out in the world. Like they've changed on the inside, but I feel like people are going to be like, Gemini, where'd you come from? That's what I've been feeling is coming for you guys. So first I have this page of Earth card here. It says studious, prepared, cheerful. So yeah, I feel like this is something you've already been doing. You've been really starting to focus more on where do you see yourself in the next year, 3 years, 5 years. Things are shifting for you guys. You're moving into different phases in your life, and you're starting to say, you know what? I know I've kind of kept this side of myself from my partner, from my boss, from my friends, from my group, the groups I'm with, and I'm tired of that. Like I'm really ready to bring something out that people didn't know about me. Kind of like the old thing that I talk about being stuck in the spiritual closet. You know, I was there for years, didn't tell anybody about the work I was doing intuitively behind the scenes. But, you know, you hit a breaking point where you're like, I'm tired of hiding this. This is something I love doing. I love sharing about. You also have this 5 of Pentacles card here. And so I am reminded here of the idea that, you know, we were talking about with Tauruses too. If you get too focused on what's not in front of you, you miss the things when you go higher. There are other things that you can bring into this reality as long as you choose to look up. And this is that reminder to go higher with your conversations. So maybe instead of getting stuck in your mind about something, should I do that? Should I not do that? Being stuck on the fence, you're asking your higher self. You're asking for signs. You're kind of giving it up to a higher source to give you that decision instead of wearing yourself out, questioning whether this is something you should do. And then for the past life card, I do have the phobias card here. So I'm feeling like this is, again, from the past. Maybe you did try to share something from your soul and you were rejected. This could even be something that happened in a past life. So you may not even have a memory of it, or it could have happened as a child and you don't remember it, but it's stuck there in that subconscious that if I share what my heart really wants with my loved ones, with my friends, with the groups of people I'm with, I'm going to be rejected. But now you're saying it's worth the risk. I don't want to live like this anymore. I don't want to, hide this side of me. And it reminds me of how you used to talk about, I haven't heard you say it lately, but maybe you have in a reading, Chris. You used to talk about the people in friendships where they're like, well, I actually want to be in romantics, but they're not saying anything. Yeah. And they're like, I want to break up the partnership. You know what I'm talking about? You explain it. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it's like, when people, that used to be my number one question. People would say, like, should I tell this person I'm interested in them? And I would be like, well, you are. So, yeah, you probably should. It's like you're kind of living a lie if you're not, you know? And so you might as well say it. And it's like, same thing. That's what I was going to say here with the devil as well. Oh. It's like, I think that's a big problem in relationships where it's like people don't express that what they actually want in the relationship, and they think the other person's a mind reader or whatever. And it's like, if you're like, let's say you're like a Gemini that's into like, feet or whatever. It's like, you could hide that because maybe you think it's weird. It is weird. I'll say that. But, it's like, you never know. Maybe someone doesn't care. Right. And it's like, are you going to live your life? Are you going to be in a relationship with a person where it's like, you never get something out of it that you're into or that you want? Or like, are you going to speak up? Because, if they're not into it, if they're not into feet, people pay good money for foot stuff. So, it's like I said, if they're not into it, you'll find someone that is. And it's like, you can't live that lie. Right.
I agree. And I do think that that's a great example, especially with the phobias card. Because I just think it's like, wouldn't you rather just know and then you can, pick up and move on if it's not what you wanted versus, so you're doing yourself a favor to just speak up there, Geminis. All right. Let us know how you guys are doing. Let's move on to the Cancers. What's going on for the Cancers the next 3 months?
Cancer looks very good. You have the 3 Wands, Wheel of Fortune, and the 4 Cups. So, I think expansion has come up for Cancer. I'm not sure if it is Cancer. I'm pretty sure. Expanding, getting out into the world. I actually feel like your ships are coming in. I never say that on the 3 Wands. I know that the 3 Wands represents your ships coming in, but to me, those boats are pointing out of the harbor. They are going away. Like, it's a card of opportunity in getting on those boats and expanding. But I do think something is coming in for you, Cancer. You have the Wheel of Fortune. It's like your fortunes are changing. And, speaking of it's too good to be true, the 4 Cups says, like, don't think that it's too good to be true because it's probably not. He's not accepting this cup because he's been disappointed so many times before. And so I do think Cancers have experienced a lot of disappointments. Also like the imagination thing, thinking the grass is greener on the other side, and then it never is with the 4 Cups. But it's almost like something is greener. The grass is greener on the other side.
Yeah, I really like that. Well, I've got the Eight of Fire here card, speed, activity, multitasking, of course, is the Eight of Wands in tarot. And yeah, I do think that you've been preparing for a big launch in some area of your life. It could be your health and fitness. It could be your career. If you're retired, it could be some kind of legacy you're leaving behind. Or maybe you are really trying to shift your relationships that you're in, but you've been doing a lot of preparation. And I meant to say this for the Geminis, but you mentioned the Devil card there, which is also a Capricorn energy, right? Chris, we have that huge stellium in Capricorn right now at the time we're recording this. So there's a lot of planets in that energy, and we're all seeing it. We're all being affected by it. And like you said, Chris, it may be that there could be people around you trying to distract you from where you're headed. So it's going to be important to really pick a focus and stick with it. That goes for all 12 signs. But this is also, I mean, Capricorn energy is your opposite sign, Cancer. And I love how you remind everybody, Chris, to listen to your opposite sign. There's a lot of times energy there that can boost you, can kind of help get you unstuck. Because you also have this King of Wands card here. And I just love this card with the lion on there. It's like such beautiful Leo energy there, which Leo is your neighbor sign too. So maybe you need to listen to Leo. But Chris, I heard you talking the other day on one of your bonus readings that people forget sometimes how intuitive the King of Wands is, right? You've mentioned it, like they don't really think about that aspect of it. And I do feel like, Cancers also are a sign that forget that they're naturally intuitive, just like Pisces are, that water energy, and Scorpios too. I'm not leaving out the other water signs, but we all have natural born intuitive abilities. We all use them in different ways. But I think a lot of times Cancers don't realize, like, sometimes your intuition comes through your emotions and you get a bad rap for it. People tell you, oh, the dramatic Cancers, right? I'm a Cancer sun sign, so I can say that. We also have the past life card is persecution and inquisition. And I do feel like there are things that you have poured your heart out about, or you've really put your energy into, and you were persecuted for it in some way. Maybe people made fun of you. Maybe people let you down. Maybe people left your life because they didn't resonate with what you were sharing. But I feel like with this Eight of Wands card here, it's like, just remember to stick with that lesson there that you had with it, and trust that, you are going to be able to overcome those feelings of being persecuted for your beliefs and for your feelings. And if you keep following that intuition and use it for something to create something you love in your daily life, you're going to be validated. So it's going to be healing that past persecution, that past feeling of, I went for what I want and nobody supported me. Everybody accused me of doing something that was for me and not for them. And that's another energy that we've been asked as Cancers to do. I know you said that too, Chris, like not mothering other people, but mothering yourself. People don't like it when you pull your energy away from them. And so that might be where you're getting the pushback, as they're like, hey, you're not here for me. And it's like, well, you needed to be there for you, and you need to continue that energy, Cancers, especially these next 3 months, starting the year with everything in your opposite sign. So anything else coming up for you, Chris?
Yeah, I love that word validate that you said there, because, I think that's what the Three of Wands is sometimes, is going and finding validation. He's standing where he has always been, but he has the opportunity to explore new worlds on the card. So it's like, if your current situation doesn't match what you want, it's like you can go validate a new situation for yourself by, going on an adventure. So, I think that is what Cancer needs to do.
Yeah. All right. That definitely resonates for me. I love it. All right, Cancers, let us know what you think. Thank you guys for liking and sharing this video and commenting. It helps us out a lot. Leos, what are you getting for the next 3 months for the Leos?
Leo, you have the Knight of Pentacles, Ten of Cups, and the Five of Swords. Pretty good. As always, literally every reading I do, it's like they're like Libra. Libra always gets Seven of Pentacles. Leo is always the Five of Swords. In the reading, you are the only two signs that constantly get the same card, and which is pretty funny. But Knight of Pentacles, I've been saying to Leo for months now that it's like, I think you're going to be doing something different, that you don't even know that you're going to be doing something different. It's something you're doing right now that you're going to use in a different way, is what it is for Leo. Knight of Pentacles says you have the seeds, you already have the seeds that need to be planted. I think Leo has already done the work. It's like you've already done something, but you're looking at it from a limited perspective. It's like, maybe you already have a tarot channel, but it's like maybe you could get super famous, like doing something else, talking about turtles or something. I don't know. But it's like you're going to be using the same skills in a different way, Leo. You don't even know probably yet. I mean, you probably have the seeds, but I think that you're going to figure it out. You have the Ten of Cups, which is like fortune after difficulty. I think family is always very important to Leo. So, I have a billion Leos in my life, so I get it, but even my brother moved his ass out of this house. That's why I have to travel in February, because he wants me to come visit. And it's like, why? You've lived with me for 36 years. Isn't that enough? Right. It's like, I don't want to go, but, so family could be very important over these few months. Some of you could be starting families as well. Mm-hmm. I think this is the risk taking, doing something in a bigger way. Devon was just talking about that King of Wands with a lion card on it. We don't look at him as being intuitive, but he's very intuitive. I always say, to me, Leo is the most like underrated zodiac sign for intuition. So I think Leos are very intuitive, but they don't use it. And so your intuition could be telling you to like walk away from something. He's walking away from these two people, but he's doing that so he can win. Mm-hmm. So it's almost like you need to have a win here, Leo.
Yes. I agree with that completely. And we heard the word validation with Cancers. What I was hearing also, what you're saying is you're walking away from needing external validation, which I do feel like a lot of Leos, that's why they ignore their intuition, is because they get focused on the external validation, not intentionally at all. It's just you're so sensitive and you're so big-hearted. And so it just kind of is a natural need to have that external validation. It's human for all of us, but I think you are walking away from that. I have this 3 of Earth card here, talent, recognition, and collaboration. So what also was coming through for me was maybe you will get that external validation your heart seeks by just going and working on that new thing, like you said, like going from a tarot channel to a turtle channel because you love the turtles so much. All of a sudden, which I love turtles too, by the way, I think that, there could be that external validation that just naturally flows to you when you're still first seeking that inner validation for something you're doing. Then we have the 9 of Cups card here, which I really like this card. I feel like it's, something that I seek in my daily life, just moving through life at a more peaceful pace, having that emotional stability, having that romance for life, enjoying taking time to stop and watch the turtle that's, by the pond hanging out in the sunlight, right? So I feel like, you could move towards a more peaceful energy just by following this new creative outlet, this new thing that you're going to be doing. And you may not be aware of what it is right now, like Chris says, but you also have this Celtic energy here. So I do think it's somewhere, because I was actually hearing Celtic cross, like the actual spread that we readers use a lot. I feel like there's going to be something that you incurred over the last 9 years or so that was pretty challenging for you, that's going to lead you to this new thing. And I once heard a mentor say that usually your talent or your next creative thing is right next to your wound. So if you think back on the thing that wounded you, there's something around that you've mastered that you can then go in that direction and you will feel a lot more fulfilled. So I think for Leos, it's almost like you're looking back at the last, few years and saying, what things have I done that have been painful, that I've overcome, that I can now use going forward and share it in a bigger way. So did anything else come up for you with the 9 of Cups and 3 of Earth there?
Yeah, I think you said something earlier, and I think Leo needs to do things where they can't relax, but they have to like force themselves to relax. With the 10 of Cups, it is like a stop and smell the roses type of card, but it's like if you're a Leo and you're like go 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 and you can't like just sit and enjoy a movie, for example, or something, like I think Leo needs more of that type of energy, just like being able to be in a situation and not like criticize the situation, thinking like, it's like, I think a lot of Leos, they feel like they have to do something, they have to be doing something. So it's like, I think Leos have a hard time watching movies or just like going to the beach and doing nothing. Right. And so I think that's what the 10 of Cups is saying.
Yeah. And I feel like too, what came up for me with that stopping the smelling roses is like, almost like you don't want to be seen as stopping and smelling the roses. Like you want people to see you in that go, go, go productive energy, when actually people are probably going to be like, wow, look at that Leo taking time to,
chill out,
stop and enjoy the beach or whatever. Yeah. So I love that for the Leos. Let us know what you guys are up to. All right. Virgos, what are you getting for the next 3 months for Virgo?
Virgo, you have the Chariot, Ten of Swords, and you. Everybody's showing up as themselves today again. So you just showing up in a strong position here with this card. The Chariot is about again having those victories. You and Pisces in my 2026 readings. That's what it was all about for both signs. Is like stacking wins and needing to like start now. It's like you have to like get that. You have to be the one to start the wins, and then once you get the wins going, then more wins will happen naturally. But if you don't get started, it's not going to happen. So, going and picking easy wins, things that are easy to win at. That's what I would be doing with that Chariot card. Definitely a year for Virgos to be setting themselves apart, I feel, in a big way. So Chariot, he's not trying to fit in. So, I think it would be a good time for you to not even try to fit in. Definitely feel this for Virgo. I've been talking to Virgo. Like something happened, I feel, in like 2023 for Virgo. I don't even know what. I mean, maybe actually Devon knows, but I think something happened with love, like how, like not just people, love in general for Virgo and like how they love and what they love and where they receive love. But again, not necessarily just romance, but all forms. And, I think this is like a continuation of that. The Ten of Swords. Some of you, it's like you might even feel there are certain people in your life where you're like, I don't want to be with this person, spend time with this person anymore. Stuff like that is going to happen for Virgo. Because I think they're trying to like change their environment with the Chariot.
That really resonates. And, when you said 2023, what popped into my mind was a lot of Virgos I knew were having throat chakra issues. It may not have been physical. It may have been like really being authentic with what they want. And you mentioned like maybe not wanting to be with a person or maybe not be part of a community or maybe not living in an area anymore. And they weren't sharing with their partner, their boss, their whoever, like, this is not where I want to be. And it was manifesting into physical issues and things like that, that may not have even come to the surface till recently. It may have been something that, started as an emotional issue with the blocked throat chakra. And then finally we're seeing some results of that, especially with the eclipses you had in your sign in 2025. So yeah, that definitely resonates. It's like now is a time to really speak up, be out there. I definitely see that for Virgos. You've got the Knight of Water card here. Romantic, emotional, dramatic, like you said, doing things differently, but also I heard kind of like you said, doing the thing that's easy, like pick the low-hanging fruit. Get started. No matter how you do it, just get started with the easiest thing to do next, because you also have the Page of Pentacles. And I feel like you're going to be learning and growing and learning as you go and getting skills and knowledge. And you're going to be doing a lot of learning by doing, which Virgos are good at anyways. So I would definitely just put yourself out there in a bigger way with taking action on things that you've been wanting to do. And then I do have this health card from the past life deck. So maybe you've overcome a health issue, or you're recognizing now, you know what, I can shift what I want for myself, this is not medical advice, of course, to anybody here, but like whether it's your physical health, your mental health, your emotional health, or your spiritual health, there is something that can shift by identifying the ways that over the last few years, maybe even going to 2023, where you weren't speaking up for yourself, you weren't advocating for what your heart wanted. Now you're willing to do it. And I heard you say in the 2026 messages, Chris, you think a lot of Virgos are going to end up famous this year. If you're a Virgo who is like, I don't want fame, you're going to be known for something. You're going to be seen as the person that we go to this person when we want to know about this thing, and own that, because that's going to be what brings a lot of healing in for all of you as well. Anything else coming up for you with those cards, Chris?
Yeah. The famous thing is really funny. I actually know a lot of Virgos. They always do kind of like end up in the limelight. I always tell a story about a buddy I have. He's actually a twin. And he's like this crazy sculptor. I've probably told you this story too. And he hides these like amazing sculptures behind his couch. Like that, he just has them stacked behind there. He doesn't want to show anything. But you know what's really funny? His brother is exactly the same way. They're twins. And he ended up, like multiple times, he's ended up in the newspaper for his art, because it's like crazy. I mean, both of them have that like just crazy savant level like art talent where they can draw something and it looks real. And so he's ended up in the newspaper multiple times, and he wants to hide too. So it's like funny that they get forced into the limelight, right?
Right.
So that could be happening to a lot of you Virgos for
Yeah,
sure.
I do see that. And I know Virgos who have been holding off on putting themselves out there, like waiting for the right time, so to speak. And I feel like it's like that's now. It's right
Mhm.
now, this is your go sign. So get started on those projects or take those projects to the next level, Virgos, and let us know what you guys are doing. What are you up to? And thanks as always for liking and sharing these videos. Moving on to Libras. What do you get for Libras for the next 3 months?
Oh my God, Libra. I said this at the beginning of the reading that, or I just said it to Leo that, and here you go, 7 of Pentacles. So, is the juice worth the squeeze, Libra? You have the 7 of Swords and the Temperance card. 2 sevens is my combination for internal fears that don't exist. So sometimes I think 2 sevens can say that you're having to, well, the 7 of Swords, I think the fear would be doing something in a different way. He's stealing these swords from an army in the background. And I also feel the 7 of Swords about like letting something just be fun, not being like, oh, I'm going to go accomplish this goal and it has to look this way. He has these polka dots on his cloak, and polka dots come up when we're taking things too seriously. We're not being playful enough. We're attaching too much meaning to whatever we're doing. And so, letting go of that would be good. Clearly, obviously, Libra, it's something new. Like, you've already gotten everything, all the juice you can out of something. It's time to, go juice something else. You have the Temperance card. I feel like you have been very patient, but again, he's trying to be too perfect. He has this path. He could just go claim that crown, and so I think it's time for Libra to like claim their crown on something.
Okay, yeah, that resonates a lot. And then I have the 8 of Air card here, self-doubt, confusion, and free will. And so I was definitely hearing the like internal fears that don't exist type of energy too. It's like they're really not in this card. This person could turn around and walk in a different way and not have to deal with these things. So is it really an obstacle, or are you saying it's an obstacle? I also have the 2 of Wands card here, and I do think that you need to really start putting the energy into something in a bigger way that you've been waiting to in a while. I feel like, what I've been getting, and I'll say this is why I'll clarify it. I have the Spouse card for your past life card, but of course I'm not reading literally, I'm reading intuitively. I feel like Libras, kind of like Leos, have been waiting for some kind of validation or recognition from the outside world for the work they've been doing, instead of just going for it with the biggest, boldest action they can. And I know Libras like to see things from both sides. They'd like to bring in balance. And I think if they get out of balance, it can be really hard to rebalance the scales sometimes for Libras, especially if you've got like a Libra moon or Libra rising. But if you have a partner, and this, of course, 2 of Wands is a card of partnership too, right? And then you've got the Spouse card. If you have a partner in your world right now that you just don't think sees you for the talent you bring into the world, that's something that you really need to consider a different approach. Now, I don't want to, tell anybody what to do or like tell you how you should behave in a partnership, but it could be that you need to walk away from some kind of partnership or energy. It doesn't have to be another human being. It could be that you've committed to a project that you're just not feeling anymore, and it's keeping you from doing that bigger and brighter thing. I think a lot of Libras are going to be wrapping up something they've been working on for the last 9 years and moving into a different direction, just like we talked about with the Leos. I think they're going to see that, like, I did put my heart and soul into this thing for a long time, almost a decade or more, but it's just not where I want to be right now. I'm ready to walk away from all these things that have just kind of turned into a burden and start these new exciting projects. And I think that I know I'm kind of repeating myself, but I think there's something around a group of people or a project or even a partnership where you're just tired of the same old conversations and the same old resistance, and you're ready to walk away. So you may be seeing some things prompting you for that for the next 3 months. Is anything else coming up for you with that, with the Libras?
Yeah, I mean, 7 of Swords is about walking away. I mean, he's walking away from that army in the background. He's doing it. He's being tactical about it. So, this is like tactical retreat, retreating away from something. And so some of you might be, slipping away like a thief in the night, right? With that card.
Yeah. And I think also, but you're going to be bringing in these new exciting things too, so you're going for something better, and I think it's going to be worth it, even if you can't really see what it is. It's like, maybe you're not going to see that until you walk away. So let us know how you guys are doing, Libras. Thanks for liking and sharing. Scorpios, what are you getting for Scorpios for the next 3 months?
Scorpio looks really good. 10 of Pentacles, 4 of Pentacles, and the 6 of Cups. And the 10 of Pentacles, excuse me.
Bless you.
Thank you. 10 of Pentacles is everything you want and desire. I felt that coming on for like 10 minutes, and there we go. So Scorpio, that must be good luck for
I was
you,
going to
Scorpio.
say, yeah, you're waiting for Scorpio.
But you have the 10 of Pentacles, which is like building everything you want and desire. I mean, opposite sign, Taurus. I mean, I say this to Taurus all the time, that they have to like build, and leave a legacy. I think that's what their focus should be. Especially with, the Uranus about to leave soon. And so same thing for you, Scorpio. It could be time to build that like long-term project or long-term relationship, whatever it is you want. 4 of Pentacles, like good, bad in this reading, I feel, because it's like, I think there are things that you're holding on to as a Scorpio that you have to let go of. But I also think that, building true security is what Scorpio wants to do right now. So, building things, but like true security, we're not talking about fake security. And so I would focus on that. And 6 of Cups, with the 4 of Pentacles is holding on to being too delicate, being afraid of like breaking things sometimes, I feel. And so I think it's time to, it's like anything, to build and leave a legacy, you have to make an impact. So, it's worth it. I think it'll be worth it to take bigger risks, to, do harder things with that.
Yeah, I definitely get that energy for Scorpios. I've got the King of Earth card here. So again, building that legacy, that foundation, that security, showing others that you are generous with the work that you do. And it really draws people to you. I do have the Hierophant card here too. So I do think that you've been doing a lot of work around moving forward with something, but there's more you need to do. There's more knowledge you need to really get to the next level with something. And the past life card is wars and battles. So I do feel like a lot of Scorpios have been pulled away from the things they wanted to do because they've been engaged in some kind of war or battle with something, maybe within a relationship, maybe within a company where you're working towards getting an idea across and you're just meeting a challenge along the way. My favorite thing to say about Scorpios is you're so good at walking into a room where people have been hashing out a problem for an hour and you're like, boom, right there, that's the problem. And everyone's like, oh, how did you see that? And you're like, it's obvious, but it's not obvious to everybody else. And they need a minute to get on board with what that reality is. Like, you're telling them the truth and it's like, the truth hurts. We have to deal with this. Well, the other thing I was hearing for the Scorpios with what you were saying and with this Hierophant card is a little bit, it's not really related directly to the card, but it was this question. Ask yourself, what else could I be doing? If you really think you're doing everything you can to move something forward, whether it's move a relationship forward, move a business forward, move your health forward, maybe there's still some other things you could learn that you aren't doing. And the easiest example I would give is like, if you hear about a couple that's been in a relationship for a long time and you're like, oh, the romance kind of fading and they don't leave me cute text messages anymore and they don't really do these things. It's like, well, what are you doing though? Like, when was the last time you did that? And is there anything else new you could bring in to kind of re-engage that information? So sometimes that's the truth that hurts. It's like we're blaming the other person, or we're blaming the situation, when really there are more things we could be doing to move the needle, so to speak. Does anything else come up for you with those cards?
Yeah, I think it's like the connection between everything for Scorpio. It's like everything is going to affect everything else with the 10 of Pentacles. And so like getting your whole life into balance and, everything working together, I think is what this is saying.
Okay, I love that. Yeah, so let us know what you're going to do to move the needle, Scorpios. We love reading your comments. All right, moving on to Sagittarius. What do you have for Sagittarius for the next 3 months?
Sag, you have the I'm switching decks for Sag. Sag, you have the 3 of Wands, the King of Pentacles, and the Queen of Wands. So more expansion. Very expansive year anyway for everybody, so it makes sense. But I think you could be expanding, getting back to your Sagittarius self, venturing, going on adventures, traveling, things like that. King of Pentacles is like needing to leave that comfort zone again with the skills. He has those grapes on his cloak, and again, he's another one that sometimes I feel like he doesn't think he's good at something that he is good at. So he needs to use those. Those grapes say he has a skill that most people don't have, but that's what creates his wealth in life, and he needs to. But he needs to, like, when you get this in a reading, it's basically saying you need to do something to create that wealth of yours, or wealth that you desire to create in your life. And with the Queen of Wands, it's about not caring what anyone thinks. She has this black cat. Black cats were considered very unlucky back in the day. And, back when tarot was created, basically. And the whole point of the black cat, she doesn't care. She just likes the black cat. And so I think that needs to be your attitude, especially if you're like holding back a skill with that King of Pentacles that you're not using, that you should be using. This is about, she follows her bliss. She has this sunflower, points towards the sun. And so she moves, she just doesn't care. She does what makes her happy, right?
Yeah, I love that for the Sagittarius. And I feel like very validating here. I have the Hermit card, and I do feel like this is the past. Like this is something that's been going on for you. You've kind of withdrawn. You've kind of taken your skills back out of the limelight, or you haven't really, you've stepped away from something that you're naturally good at. I have the Eight of Wands card here too. And I do feel like, yeah, you have a lot of options here, and you do feel very busy. I mean, most Sages I know are super busy all the time and doing all the things. But you also have this Monk or Nun card from a past life, and where I feel like that relates is, again, that reminder that you do have these gifts that you've brought into this life, and a lot of them are spiritual gifts. And yes, I see Sages getting back out there again, like you said, back to your normal partying, fun-loving, traveling self, whatever that is. But you have so many options that you're not even really focused on which one is going to really move you into a space where you want to stay there with your gifts. And so what I'm feeling for a lot of Sages over these next 3 months is getting really clear on why aren't you sharing these gifts with the world, the things that are so easy for you to do. Are you allowing past wounds or past failures or past moments of embarrassment or vulnerability to hold you back from sharing these gifts, because you're being asked to? I know how you talk about coming down off the mountain with the Hermit card. I think that's what Sagittarius are being asked to do in these next 3 months, is come get back out there in a big way. We need you guys. You're going to be trining Saturn and Neptune and Aries with it, when it's back in there. We need the Sagittarius to bring in that knowledge, that wisdom, those gifts, lead the way, be the life of the party, get us out of our comfort zones. Sagittarius, that's what we really could use, a lot of that, and you're good at doing that. It's actually something that's, I feel like, easy for a lot of Sagittarius to do for others, but are you doing it for yourself? It's kind of a good question to ask there. So does anything else come up for you with the Eight of Wands, the Hermit, and the Monk or Nun card there?
Yeah, again, she is doing things for herself. So that's really the only thing that's popping into my head, and needing to just do those things for yourself, really. Yeah. All right, Sagittarius, let us know what you're doing. Thank you guys for liking and sharing. Moving on to the Capricorns, you have all these planets in your sign at the time of this recording. What are you getting for the next 3 months? Yeah, very popular, Capricorn. You have the 3 Cups, 10 of Cups, and the Judgment card. So again, I think you're just going to feel very popular, or it could be getting a lot of attention coming in for you. Yeah, you have 4 conjunctions in your sign this month. So definitely could be standing out, getting a lot of attention. I think Sun conjunct Pluto as well on January 23rd, even though that'll be in Aquarius, but it is your second house. So you could be like creating a lot of value, and that value that you're creating could be something that like brings you followers, brings you power, puts you in leadership positions. I mean, I don't know, the list goes on and on there. It's 11-11 as I say that.
Ooh,
too.
Nice.
So
11-11.
and yeah, I like that for you, Capricorn.
Yeah.
10 of Cups, I think Capricorn is definitely one of the signs that like needs to make things easier. I feel like they're too used to hard things being hard. And I would like eliminate as many as you can. There still will be hard things that you have to do, but can you make things easier, smoother, better, faster, stronger, all that? That's what I would think about there. Judgment, yeah, like I feel like you're starting to feel like you are in a different time. I think that's been definitely, having had Pluto in your sign for a long time, I think it has been hard to think that you can like have a rebirth, recreate your life, do something new, whatever. So makes sense that that's coming up.
Yeah, I love that. I have the 9 of Water card, wishes, dreams, and happiness here. The Queen of Pentacles, just a really great energy that does well with Capricorns. And then this Atlantis card. And I think it's interesting to get the Atlantis card for Capricorn, since, like you said, Pluto went through your sign and kind of shook things up for you and broke down a lot of the old ways of doing things, a lot of old systems and old beliefs. And it doesn't really relate to the cards we have here, but while you were talking, I was hearing that a lot of A lot of Capricorns are moving out of imposter syndrome, I feel like now. Like this, they're finally realizing like, no, I actually did do the work and I am here to be the authority on this thing. I actually am ready to live in this energy as though I own it. And this Nine of Water card is really that idea of like the work you're doing is making your dreams come true. You're finding a lot of happiness in the work you're doing, but it's coming from a different place. Instead of it being, you're happy because you finished the project or you did a good job, charting the way for others because you're a great leader. You're saying, no, I'm happy because I'm not working. I'm at peace. Like this isn't work for me. Even though you're working, it doesn't feel like work. So I feel like there's something that you are working towards, especially with this Queen of Pentacles card here, where you're using all the really practical and objective skills that you have as a Capricorn, but it's bringing something into this reality that you wouldn't have considered practical, 10, 15, 20 years ago. And it's almost like maybe you are allowing yourself to go to other realms with your thinking and your work. And we've seen a lot of messages for Capricorns around relying more on your intuition than ever before. Now that of course goes for all of us, and wherever you have Capricorn in your chart, we are all going to be tapping into these other realms on a different level, but maybe you're just doing it in a bigger way where you're embracing it. And somehow I feel like you're incorporating it into your daily work and your daily practices. So is anything else coming up for you with the Nine of Water and the Queen of Pentacles there?
Yeah, the imposter syndrome thing. I say to Capricorn all the time that it wouldn't surprise me if they have something like a goal or something they want to accomplish right now, and it's like if they see see other people doing it, that they're like saying like maybe you're saying to yourself, oh, it's going to take me 10 years to get to this point or whatever, but it's going to be much less. I think that's what Capricorn needs to realize, is that something like you are comparing yourself to other people. It's like you're putting them on a pedestal. That could be where the imposter syndrome is coming from. And really, it doesn't exist.
Yeah,
and, that's what the Ten of Cups basically says.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I feel like, too, for all 12 signs, a good reminder is that we are in a new era with Pluto in Aquarius where, you don't get there the old way. It's not the old fashioned put your nose to the grindstone and pay your dues and seniority, and you have to do it this many a years, right? I think that's the thing that's the beauty for all 12 signs. There are other ways to get there, and it's going to be faster than you think. So I love that validation for all 12 signs. Alrighty. Thanks, Capricorns. Make sure to like and share this video. And moving on to the Aquarius. Let me pull up their sign. Sorry, I lost their sign. There we go. Aquarius for the next 3 months.
Aquarius, you have the Hermit, the Chariot, and the Five of Pentacles. Definitely like a don't hold back type of energy here, Aquarius. Hermit says you've already done all the hard work. You've already kind of been through the dark night of the soul. Now you have your inner light that you have to shine. That is the star in his lantern. So you are the star card, Aquarius, and it's like time for you to shine for sure. Chariot, charging forward in a new direction. I mean, you're an Aquarius. You're already weird, so just embrace it, right? Be weird, charge forward in those different directions. I think for you, I say it to you and Gemini all the time that, if I were an Aquarius, I'm an Aquarius rising. So absolutely, I'm going to take this advice as well, which is, I think that you specifically should stick out like a sore thumb. He's charging away from where he's been his whole entire life. He is making a big change. People might be calling him crazy or might be saying you're nuts for leaving something or charging forward in a new direction. And, that could have you feeling left out in the cold. But Five of Pentacles isn't necessarily bad. It's like they chose to walk away from something, but the positive side of this card is to focus on your strengths. So, a lot of you might be going somewhere where you can be stronger is what that's saying to me.
Yeah, that resonates a lot for me. You kept talking about charging forward. I have the Knight of Fire card here, which is definitely a very passionate, I know sometimes impulsive energy, but I think it's going to benefit you, Aquarius, to just really follow those passions, continue to. I feel like a lot of you have been doing that. And this Justice card, I feel like too, like you've walked away from something, you've let go of something, maybe a group of people, maybe a project, maybe an old business, old branding, old, way that you refer to yourself. And, in a way, it's like there is a little bit of that feeling of being out in the cold. at first, but it's worth it. You can handle it. I have this father card too from a past life thing. And what I was getting from this energy, since again, I'm not reading literally intuitively, it's almost like you're wanting the approval from some type of father-like figure that you're just not going to get, and you're willing to walk away from that, or maybe it's just a male energy in your life, or there's some kind of male or female, doesn't matter. It's like there's just some kind of authority figure that you were waiting and waiting and waiting to be seen for the gifts that you're sharing and the things that you have, for validation of the way you're living your life, and you're choosing to just say, you know what, I'm not going to wait around for that validation anymore. I'm just going to go do it, whether I have the approval or not. And so keep going with that energy, follow the adventure. I really think that, again, you're going to see over these next 3 months, the energy of especially once the sun moves into your sign, which happy birthday for you guys, that you're going to feel a lot of freedom around that. So like I heard you say out in the, card of being out in the cold, not necessarily a bad thing with the 5 of Pentacles. I think, it's like, it's going to be cold air a little bit. Like maybe you are in the Northern Hemisphere and you're getting outside for walks more, but it's like, it's not that big a deal. It's temporary. Like before you know it, you're going to be basking in the sun of other people and the warmth of something new very soon. So does that resonate with you with the Justice card and the Knight of Fire?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think just do it is the key word for Aquarius.
Yeah. Just do it. I love it. All right. Thank you for liking and sharing, Aquas. And let's move on to the lovely Pisces. What do you have for the next 3 months for Pisces?
Yeah, Pisces, kind of similar to Capricorn. I think that you need to stop putting other things on a pedestal, people on a pedestal, not even just people, but anything that you're trying to accomplish. I mean, the world sometimes says wrong card. The world says that you have the whole world in your hands. So you have to kind of create your own reality. Again, Neptune and Pisces is your last chance. You have whatever today is 7th. So 19 days left to kind of take one step towards your impossible dream, Pisces. So whatever that dream is, it's now is your chance to kind of make it happen. Mm-hmm. Of course, it's not going to happen overnight, but I always say with Neptune, I don't think we have to be perfect with Neptune. I think we just have to start. And, you want to start now before it moves into Aries. So, I would make a move towards a goal. I think you're confusing yourself. I know, Pisces, because I'm a Pisces, I confuse myself all day long. And I feel like the 7 of Cups is, I always say, 7 of Cups is not a card of regrets, but I always say don't regret it. It's my card sometimes where I feel we can be cheating ourselves out of something that would be really good for us. And, because he's looking at these, there's good things and bad things in these cups. He's dreaming of one dream, but he's looking at all the potential outcomes, which could be a problem. And, he might get to a point where he says oh, well, that would have never worked anyway. So he just doesn't even try. But it's no, actually, you don't know that if you don't try. And also, I think Pisces should be learning from competition. Really, Pisces, you are going to be the competition as far as I'm concerned. Mm-hmm. So, I think, you should learn from the competition and try to stand out, try to be different. I always say that's the solution to the card is that you study the competition, you see what they're doing, what they're not doing, and then you do what they're not doing. So that's what I would do with that.
Yeah, I love that for the Pisces. And don't forget, too, you have Jupiter and Cancer for a while this year, trining your sign. So take advantage of that. That's a big boost to get this thing going. You have the 10 of Cups card here. Beautiful energy for you guys, more water. And again, that reminder that you do have to actually bring these cups down into your reality. So when you were talking about well, that would have never worked anyways, it's how do you know? It could have been better than you ever imagined. You just got to go for it. You also have the 3 of Water card here. So no more water for you guys. You love that, right? Those celebration, community, friendships. Yeah, I do think I got this for you guys all 2025 too. New relationships, new people. You're getting out there and doing things with groups. You're changing the way you go through your day, the way that you focus on what's important to you. And it's bringing in more friends, more relationships that really support where you want to go. And I do think that it's an energy that you weren't very comfortable with in 2025, but it feels like now you're starting to get more in a flow and with the idea of getting out of your comfort zone. It's not quite as hard to step out the door and go join that group event like it was before or start those new things. You do have the Trees card here too. So from past life energy in this deck, what I'm getting is that, just that reminder of the things that ground you and the things you used to do as a kid. Maybe you climbed trees. Maybe you went out in nature. Maybe you drew things and did creative things, but there is an energy around. There was something you just naturally, innately did when you were younger that grounded you. And if you can start to bring that in more as a daily practice as well, it's going to help you bring these new things into the reality, especially when occasionally some of that past stuff comes up of feeling vulnerable or feeling like, oh, I don't really want to have to get out of the house today, or I don't want to have that conversation, that there's really actually something that can ground you, that can reset you and remind you of how far you've come with the things you're working on and just really going for it. So like I said, I agree. I think you're going to just have so many opportunities, Pisces. And I think part of it is just actually bringing it into that reality and taking action on it. So anything else come up for you with those cards?
Yeah, maybe that's what it is, like the vulnerability, the world, like, it's kind of like an all eyes on you type of card. So it's like if you're doing things and you feel like everybody's watching, which they probably are, that could make you feel very vulnerable. But the world is the accomplishment. The world says you are the one that creates your own reality. So, even if you're worried like, oh, people are going to make fun of me or say this, that, or the other thing, you need to go for it anyway.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Well, I love that for the Pisces. Let us know what you're starting. We love reading all your comments, and thank you everybody for liking and sharing and subscribing to both our channels. We're going to get into your bonus messages, which are meant to clarify anything that resonated with you for any of these 12 signs. These are going to clarify it. But first, just one quick reminder to make sure you have hit subscribe for Minnow Pond Tarot, that you have gone to Chris Reck's channel, chrisreck.com, hit subscribe there and like and share all his stuff. He has so many great things to get you started. And this is a year of starting things, this one year, right, Chris? So yeah, I definitely support, anybody who's been waiting to start something or take something to the next level. This is the time. So we'll see what the clarification messages are there. And I just want to mention one more thing. I do have a free gift for all of you. Thank you all so much for being here. Linked below, I have a brand new 44-day transformation journey. It's totally free. It doesn't cost anything to sign up, but check it out below if you are ready to transform something. Of course, going from a 9-year into a 1 year, we're all moving into something new, but this is something you could do leading up to a birthday or on your birthday, where for 44 days, you can get a free message in your inbox based on the numerology of your journey and messages from your spiritual team just for you if you want to sign up below. So check out that link below. That's my gift to you to move into these next 9 years. And with that being said, why don't we get started with our clarification bonus messages? Chris, what do you have for that? Oops.
We were talking about this at the beginning, Queen of Cups. So following your heart comes up all the time. Right now, she really values her heart more than anything. And so that's what she listens to. That's what I would listen to if I were everybody. I think everybody should do that more. And yeah, that's it for her. The Emperor and the Two of Pentacles. Great time to take the lead. Great time to be a leader. I think the world needs more leaders anyway, good leaders right now. And, I think I like Pluto and Aquarius, and even, Neptune and Aries is a little bit hive mind type of energy. I think it's going to make people look for people who have the answers. And so it's like probably bad if you're joining a cult, like I've been saying. It's probably good if you are the person that has the answers. So like be a person who has answers for, pretty much anything, any problems that you see in the world, anything you're good at, any of that stuff, you really want to take the lead in that way. Kind of funny that he keeps coming up as well, because it's like, I do think it's a fast year, but I wonder if the opportunities, it's like an opportunity will appear. There's going to be a period of a pause, and then like another opportunity will appear. I say that because he's like sitting down, but he has his armor on, so he's ready to go at a moment's notice. It also makes me think of like the type of opportunities that we could be getting. Either they're going to remind us of opportunities we missed out on in the past. So it's like basically the universe being like, hey, you already know what this opportunity looks like. If you see something similar, it's probably like the universe saying, yes, you want to take this opportunity. So I would, pay attention to any like repeat opportunities, even if they're different. And then, of course, work hard, play hard. I think everybody, it's a busy year. So especially like after March, I think people need to do something fun.
Yeah, I love that. And when you said be the one with the knowledge, that harkens back to what we were saying about the things that come easy for you. There probably are people who what you have a lot of knowledge about, what's easy for you, somebody else is like, I'm really struggling. Can you help me with this? And then it creates these new friendships, these new opportunities you didn't see coming. I have the 3 of Air card. Again, we were talking about this at the very beginning. If you guys tuned in late, go back and check out our intro where we were talking about a lot of the similar energies. So you were talking about heart, focusing on the heart, but we were also talking about the healing, the 3 of Air, sorrow, forgiveness, things from your past, right? Heartbreak. Well, this is something, again, we were talking about where a lot of times your greatest wound also is right next to your biggest gift, the gift that you're here to do. Maybe it's involving a new life purpose for you, something you didn't ever consider, something you would do in this lifetime. Even if you're retired, it may be something that you're leaving as a legacy for grandchildren or the community. So think about that over these next 3 months, and what are some skills and knowledge you can share with others because of something you went through that may have been, a painful time, but there was knowledge that came out of it. Because you also have the Temperance card here. So yeah, I do think we have to be patient with the energy that's coming through. You were talking about this at the beginning too, Chris, where it's like we want to be in the flow, but we also want to be like watching and not impulsive, because there's going to be enough of that fiery energy anyways out there. It's like you kind of want to be like, I don't know if you're one of those people. I'm one of those people where if you're at an event and they're like, okay, everybody, the buffet's open, like I stay seated and I wait for everybody to go through the line, and then I get in line. That's just my personality. I just don't want to deal with like the racing towards the line and standing there. But it kind of feels like that. It's like you are going to get in line, but maybe you're not like rushing to be at the front of the line, because you want to have an opportunity to see what's coming, get a little hindsight there. And then we have the Wisdom card here too. So yeah, I love this card with the unicorn. I do think that a lot of us are going to be sharing our wisdom in new ways. Yes, you do have wisdom to share through life experiences, through things you've overcome. And so like you said, be the person with the knowledge. I think that a lot of you who have been thinking about writing that book, starting that podcast, creating that YouTube channel, definitely check out chrisreck.com for motivation for that. You will be able to share this wisdom, and it's kind of like take the low-hanging fruit, do the thing that's easy for you, and you would be surprised at the people who are really seeking you out. You have that audience waiting for you. So does anything else come up for you with that 3 of Air, wisdom?
Yeah, no.
And
First off, I'm biting ankles to get to the front of the line. So I am not that type of person, but so I'm going to fight my way up there. But
okay.
Yeah, there was something. Oh yeah, like I do think there is a benefit in seeing how things go. Again, he's patiently waiting for the opportunity. So and with all the competition stuff, 5 of Wands coming up in like at least twice today, I think, or something. It's like maybe we should take that pause to like get in line, but see what everybody else is doing so we can fill in the gaps. Again, Uranus and Gemini to me is like third place solutions, like some sort of solution you haven't thought of or no one's thought of. And so it might take some patience to, find those opportunities, right?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. And we'll do another, next 3 months reading when Uranus goes, when it's going to be going into Gemini. That's a good point, because we did all get that glimpse last year. We got a little bit of Saturn and Neptune and Aries and a little bit of Uranus and Gemini. So you can use that time from last year to think about like what shifted, what ideas did I have? Because not a lot of us had time to take action on it or get clarity. So I think you are going to see a lot of clarity coming through, and just to remember that you already have that kind of innate wisdom there. So like you were talking earlier about like having to do it for 10 years to be successful. I think that's where we're going to get the clarity, is like, no, I'm already ready for this. I'm already the authority. So anything else coming up for you with that, Chris, before we wrap up?
I don't know. That's it.
All right. Well, this is always such a blast. You guys, thank you so much for liking and sharing this video, for commenting. We read all your comments, hitting that subscribe button. Chris will definitely be back again soon. I'd love to have you back as always. And don't forget to check out the 2026 readings we did last month if you want some more clarity. And definitely go check out all of Chris's amazing stuff. Thank you, Chris, for being here. It's always a blast.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, you guys. Well, we're wishing you a very happy next 3 months, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.